So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Well, it's time to keep conversing on social media using our hashtag EHA2020. Well, we're talking about 5 days of power-packed panels, 180 plus speakers, and 100 plus awards from August 31st and September 4th. Well, today being the day two, and the next session should already be whetting your appetite. Let's get ready for the session, which is getting them back with your hidden culinary gems. Well, our esteemed panelists include Diwan Gautam Anand, founding trustee Cuisine India Foundation, Manisha Bhasin, corporate chef IDC Limited Hotels. We've got Himanshu Taneja, culinary director, South Asia Marriott International, Amit Chowdhury, executive chef, the Taj Mahal Palace, Mumbai, Sharad Diwan, regional director, food production, the Park Hotels. We've got Rajeev Janveja, the corporate chef, Lemon Tree Hotels, Rakesh Sethi, corporate executive chef, operations South Asia, Radisson Hotel Group, Parvinder Singh Bali, corporate chef, learning and development, the Oberoi Center of Learning and Development. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to call upon the man leading from the front, Bhuvnesh Khanna, CEO, BW Communities, to join me on the screen and welcome our panelists. Hello, Bhuvnesh. Firstly, what an incredible panel the earlier one was, and now we're all set for our next panel. And as you can see, our panelists are just joining in with a few minutes. How are you doing, Bhuvnesh?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Bhavna. Hello, Gautam.
Hello, Bhuvnesh. What a pleasant surprise.
Surprise, eh? So I must tell you about Diwan Gautam Anand.
Sure.
Diwan Gautam Anand, I've known him since I knew myself. Right?
Am I a panelist or am I the...
I'm going to bring in this brilliant soul who's a great well-wisher, who does food shows. He's a chef, he's an author, and he's a television personality. Kunal Vijayakar, I shall welcome him, and I shall now watch the show on Facebook, Twitter, BW Hotelier Online, and on YouTube. All right, let me tell you, we've got massive audiences, we've got massive registrations, but I shall have to excuse myself from the screen because we can only get in 9. All right, Kunal Kalra, you can get me off. See you guys in the last 10 minutes. I'll see you in the last 10 minutes.
Let's give Bhuvnesh a big hand. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I must say that you're all looking very attractive. So, since you've all been introduced by the presenter, I don't think we should go through the motions once again. So the principle of this very confusing mail that I sent you guys, and there was an outcry, was largely because, as I told you, I'm a history student, not a very bright student from St. Stephen's College, and my English can be a little challenging even to myself. तो मैं मेरा कुछ समझ नहीं आती मैं क्या लिखता हूँ, ठीक है? उसके लिए मेरी गुस्ताखी माफ. But इतना मैं आपको बता दूँ कि ये जो or I must say that whether it was Rajeev's Bukan Vadi and his Doli Di Roti, or Rakesh Sethi's couplets and his Ghazliyat, right? Apart from being a fabulous chef, इसकी मौसीकी बहुत अच्छी है, ये बहुत अच्छा हिंदुस्तानी बोलता है, right? Amit Chowdhury must have got some hidden gems tucked away in his drawer, which he will not let anybody else see. Parvinder, who everybody loves. Parvinder, तेरी तारीफ ही करते हैं सब. I'm telling you. And और Manisha जो कि किसी की तारीफ कभी नहीं करती, वो तेरी बहुत तारीफ करती है. वो कहती है कि what a great career you had, and thank you very much. Sharad, who is a naughty boy, and I love his new sexy haircut, right? He was my mainstay. When I went to IDC Marriott, it was a difficult hotel managed, and Sharad Diwan was my mainstay there, so I owe you, all right? I heard Himanshu the other day with Anil's forum, and I must say You should have been a professor. Like the chef said, thorough, it's a professorial role. You spoke very well and lot of passion. So I think we're all very gifted and very lucky to have the what we call the नौ रत्न तो नहीं कह सकते, but सात रत्न, right? So for the audience who don't know what the hell we are talking about, essentially what we are saying is that Kunal is one of the most amazing I know, and the reason I brought him in is because I don't want my biases to come into what we call appreciation. It's simple as that. All right, and my biases are quite apparent. Uh, so the reason why Kunal was brought in was to say, look, you look at the and look, this is not competitive. It's all about appreciating your greatness. We are blessed to have such fabulous chefs in this country. One of the things that you guys have done is that you have brought the culinary landscape of the world closer to our shores, and you've taken Indian culinary food all over the world. So between you and me and the audience who is listening, this is what the idea was. So वो कहते हैं कि अगर आप सुना है कि ढूंढने से खुदा भी मिल जाता है, तो चाहे वो परविंदर हो, चाहे वो शरद हो, चाहे वो राकेश हो, चाहे वो राजीव हो, there are non-scripted menu degustation, a taster's menu which is non-scripted. तो ये à la carte का तो सब जगह होता है, ये scripted है. तभी तो हिंदुस्तान में फरमाइशी खाना कहते हैं ना, फरमाइशी का मतलब ऑन रिक्वेस्ट. जो आला कार्ट है वो तो आला कार्ट है, लेकिन कुछ ऐसा हम कह रहे थे आपसे कि ये का मेरी degustation which is there. It's in your mind, it's in your archives, it's in your resonance, it's in your past or it's in your future. It doesn't really matter. But if that can be scripted together as a 5 or 7 course, and for heaven's sake, even though the law doesn't allow us to do that, is combined with a beverage. And I am not qualifying what beverage. And then we said, look, whatever you guys do must have heritage. हिंदुस्तान की जो विरासत है वो हेरिटेज ही है, हजारों साल की हेरिटेज है. क्वालिटी. अब जैसे we were bantering with Rajeev Janveja on the choli di roti and the amazing. I mean, if you look at the story that, and our parents came from, well, they came from Lahore, but it's a story that we'll talk about later. Then we said quality. तो quality के बगैर ingredients और quality के बगैर कुछ खाना नहीं है. ये जो layered food होता है ना, जिसमें आप cream, मलाई, ये वो, it's all very lack of quality. Then we said that please see what the Prime Minister is telling us. Think global, but be vocal about local. And then the principal complaint that everybody has, ladies and gentlemen, is that very often after an Indian meal, you have a very distressful aftermath. So can our menu experience be distressless? मतलब हाजमा होना चाहिए, ठीक है जी. So we will go through the paces. As I said, Kunal has got together lots of interesting. He's like the Santa Claus today, all right, without the Kanji Varam sari, and he's set together lots of interesting appreciations, as we call them. This is a non-compete afternoon. Let's just have fun. But I just want to remind everybody that the Vedic sages reminded us. The Vedic sages reminded us that time is not linear. It is a circle. The core concept of karma, explained our ancient sages, that what goes around comes around. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Thus, your hidden gems are bound to come back, and I promise you, so will your customers and guests. Right? So, without much ado, as I said, we start the cards rolling. We've actually chosen a much more democratic way of doing these presentations. So our first, or in alphabetic order, is the redoubtable chef Amit Chowdhury, who runs one of the most iconic kitchens in Asia, if I may say so. Amit, the
Good
baton is
afternoon,
yours.
Mr. Anand.
I have my. Just to remind you that if because otherwise they'll cut us off, and then we'll be looking at each other only. Amit Chaudhary, give him a big hand. Come on, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone, and my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Mahal, Mr. Anand.
Thank you.
As you said, the topic is getting them back with the hidden culinary gems. India is a vast country, and every 100 kilometers that you travel, you encounter new culture, new cuisine, and the same ingredients are used in different ways, lending altogether a different flavor to your dishes. These dishes are heavily laced with history, and they are usually the food habits that were followed about 5 decades back. But over time, these recipes, or many recipes have faded away. They've either become unavailable because from the daily menu of a common man, because the ingredients may be difficult to get by, or another reason may be the extensive preparation and the time that is required to cook the dishes. Almost lost or forgotten over time, these recipes are truly actually the integral part of India and reminds us of a rich culinary heritage. So I've made a degustation menu, which is an attempt to create some of the lost dishes from our Indian cuisine and give them a touch of modernity without impacting the essence of their originality. So I begin with the dish which is called Kathambari Kebab. It's a lost recipe from the royal kitchens of Maharaja Ala Singh, who was the first ruler of the state of Patiala. Patiala has embraced Nawabi cuisine from Rampur as well as the refined traditions of the Mughals, and they have created a legacy which is very distinct of its own. This kebab was allegedly actually invented when a deboned chicken leg was cooked in cylindrical instrument, which is called the fukna. This chicken was stuffed with a mixture of coriander, paneer, lemon juice, egg, and then it was basted in a marinade, which is a unique marinade, which was made with poppy seeds, and then it was cooked and finished in the tandoor. This dish incorporates the rustic roots of the Patiala, their cooking style, and the emphasis is on the fresh seasonal produce, mingling with influences that came from the kitchens from the historic association with the Afghans. I have paired this particular kebab with are lasoon or suwe ki chutney, and this is a very fresh chutney that is made with green garlic chives and fresh dill with lemon juice, and obviously seasoned with salt and little oil for it to blend. Also, what I have done is that I have paired this particular beverage with a red wine that I've taken from Beaujolais because of its silky notes, and it has light tannin and slight acidity. And there is a berry flavor in this wine which helps to elevate the flavor of this meat. So the second dish that I have selected is a soup, which is called the Sada Ash, and it is a recipe that was found while visiting the Falaknuma Palace, and it has originated during the era of the Nizams. Ash is obviously a thick soup or stew, which is served hot and not in India, but its origins are from Iran. It is also found in Afghanistan, Turkish, Azerbaijan. And this soup uses a 150-year-old recipe from the kitchens of the Nizam. It's actually a lamb soup which is simmered over several hours. And the ingredients obviously are the trotters and the nulli, which is slow cooked. And the uniqueness of the soup is that it is tempered, and the tempering is done, I'm told, 7 times. And this bagar is of the ghee, the garlic, the black cardamom, which ensures a subtle flavor. And it stays when you sip the soup. It stays till the end of your the last sip that you take of the soup. It is usually served with small raviolis or luknis, what are called, and they are stuffed with lamb, which is flavored with black cardamom and pepper. It also has some shredded lamb chunks, which is taken from when you are stewing the soup or the stock by itself, and it is flavored with pepper. The third course that I have selected is called Bujelo Bing, and it is actually a Parsi style of a dish, a fish dish preparation. And it comes from the southern Gujarat part of Gudwada, where the origins of the Parsis have been recorded. So this Parsi dish is essentially based on a fish which is hilsa, and hilsa is usually found during this time. This is the rainy season. This fish is actually what they do is they rub the whole fish with rock salt and clean it, and then they cut it and then they gut the fish from inside, and it is stuffed. First, it is marinated actually with salt and lemon juice and turmeric. And then later on, it is stuffed with a very nice and delicate mixture of fresh coconut, coriander, chilies, and raw mangoes, and the spices, which makes it a very delectable specialty. Then it is wrapped with banana leaves. After wrapping with banana leaves, it is again wrapped in muslin cloth. This package is also then later covered with a clay soil, which helps in completely sealing this particular dish. It then is cooked on a bed of a burning coal, and what the clay soil does is it prevents the burning and the fast cooking of the fish, whole fish that is there. And then and the muslin cloth also helps in retaining the moisture of the banana leaf, and it imparts the nutrients and the flavor to this fish. The beverage that I have chosen for this particular dish is a rosé wine. It is from the Côte de Provence, which really enhances the flavor of the fish, and it pairs very well.
Right.
For my main course, I have taken a dish which is called the Kimyachi Pasundi. Obviously, from Maharashtra. This is from Maharashtra, and it is a specialty of the CKP community of the Maharashtra. They have historically lived in the Indus Valley, and they are the descendants of King Chandrasena. So the traditions that CKP has is they use a lot of spices like saffron and poppy seeds. While it had its origins in Kashmir and in Indus Plains, they have migrated from North India and they have come to coastal Maharashtra, and they continue to add their spices to this collection. This particular dish is topped with egg and it is baked. It is also, I have put it along with Rajgiri Upma. And it is basically quinoa that I've used, which is called Rajgira over here. And I have paired it with I have used a gravy which I have made with a Buddha masala and the coconut gravy. And I have given a slight texture and a flavor and a zing to this particular dish by using mirchi techa. So Rajgira is also known as a royal grain, and this mirchi techa gives a very nice and subtle aroma and a sweet hints of pungency and the heat to this particular dish.
Excellent.
The beverage that
No, that's all right. It's just my cue of saying that we all have 10 minutes, so
Yes, I'm finishing. The beverage that I have paired with is a Cabernet Sauvignon Napa Valley, from Napa Valley, actually. Then the last dish, that is the dessert, is a rohe kheer. It's obviously a sugarcane juice kheer that is made from the leftover rice, and the sugarcane juice is reduced. It comes from Punjab, and the kheer is very aromatic and has lots of flavors in terms of cardamom and richness. Can be given with nuts. I have presented it in two ways: one with the topping of a dry fruit compote, and the other with the topping of shredded rose and gulkand. So for my presentation of the dish is the Himachi Pasundi, which I will just show it to you the way I have done it. So what I have done is I have layered the Rajgiri Upma is at the base, and the keema is on top, and the egg is there on top. I have put fresh coriander. I've dry roasted it and made a powder of the dry coriander, which has topped with it to give some certain color. And thecha, I have put it over here. The Buddha masala gravy is there with me, and I will finish it with the topping of this.
Excellent.
Buddha masala. And this is how will my dish look like. And obviously, this is the bane with turmeric powder. Thank you.
You know, I must say, Amit, that your research and your Indian allegiance to history, and I particularly love the combination of the arch and the Saat Bhagat. You know how many Nizams there were in Hyderabad?
Please let me know.
7.
Wow.
So what you have just said is that is actually Ash Sat Nizam. Because there were just 7 Nizam. So anyway, thank you very much. That was beautifully done. We particularly like your research and your passion and your diversity. And I think Mr. Modi is listening, and he'll be very happy to hear about your becoming verbal about what is it? About being local. Sorry, what is it?
Local.
Yeah. We do excuse your import of the wine, but then currently, as the law says, there are no wines allowed to be served, so for which you are completely forgiven. But well done. Thank you so much. Our next contribution is from the forever traveling Himanshu Taneja, how he manages to get onto the slides, and so you must be the flying returns king in India. Because with all the mileage that you picked up in your frequent travel, although it may have come to some sort of a hiatus for the past 3 or 4 months, and I love your dissertation with the other day. So over to you, all right?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a big hand. And you know, I like Himanshu's sense of modesty. He himself is convinced that he's the best chef in the country.
Well, we always look forward to listening to you. It's always, it's great to listen to you. Yeah.
Over to you, Bachek. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Diwan. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Khanna. I'm sure he's listening, and my very dear friend Kunal.
Hello, Himanshu.
Looking forward to see you somewhere in one of the hotels in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Well,
if not really eating, at least virtually eating.
Yeah, actually, I'll cook something and send you the pictures. Yeah, I'm really privileged. I'm really privileged to be here, and thank you all my dear chefs for sharing this screen. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see you all. Well, I'm not going to talk about the trends. As they say, the trends fades away with time. So I have chosen a very, very popular topic, which is indigenous. So this is the topic for my presentation today, and I've only picked up indigenous ingredients, which are very own to our incredible country, and we are very proud to have them. The demographics of a country is truly remarkable, with fertile soil and all the 4 weathers. Indeed, we do relish this natural luxury of our country, and I'm going to try my best to tickle all five senses of taste by incorporating the sweetness, sourness, the bitterness, the savoriness, and the umami flavors in the menu. And the second most thing I've considered while curating this menu is the texture and the temperature of all the courses to give vivid experiences to our guests. So here are the ingredients I'm going to use in my course. And like I said, we are very proud to have these ingredients in the country. So here we go. Morel mushrooms from Kashmir. I'm going to use Kanchampulli vinegar from Coorg. I've got Gondoraj lemon, Nolan Good, and Kasundi from West Bengal. I'm going to use Kokum from Goa, Mathania chilies from Rajasthan. I'm going to use Jamun from the plains of North India, and Himalayan rock salt, of course, from Himalayan ranges. So India is a land of spices. I'm going to create the harmony of spices in my menu of bursting flavors. I think somebody needs to put it on mute, which is unmuted. My request, because there's too much noise coming. Chef Amit.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to use the three primary cooking methods in this. One is spit roasting, second is slow cooking, and third is steaming. Personally, I'm a big fan of spit roast. Fire has its own property and give a very distinctive flavor to the food after the chemical reaction occurs. This is the Maillard reaction. So the mankind started with spit roasting and gives us a connect to our ancestors. So in the menu, I have a couple of fish preparations, a pork, and a lamb. And for a change, I'm not doing chicken this time. I'm going to talk a little bit about the courses and a little bit story about all the dishes. So here's my first course. A charred stuffed morels with kesar malai cream. So morel mushroom commands the best price due to the distinctive flavor and spongy honeycomb texture in this country. And you cannot grow these mushrooms anywhere commercially. It has to be grown wild, abundant on the logs of wood. These mushrooms are very, nutritious. Doesn't grow at the same time. They're very notorious mushrooms. They won't grow at the same place next year. So, it's become very difficult for the farmers to hunt for it. And, a lot of hard work. So, stuffed morels marinated over the charred fire. And the kesar malai cream will give distinctive flavor. What I've done is I picked up some soil from the Himalayas. And this is where I have distilled the soil in the laboratory where you'll get the water. That water is used to make the kesar malai cream. It will give an experience to the journey of walking in Kangra Valley. So this is the preparation. You're sitting in a restaurant and you close your eyes and then you are in Kangra Valley of having those beautiful morel mushrooms. That's the luxury.
Second, so you're giving credit to the Himachalis as well for the morel?
100%.
Because I was going to put in some conscientious objection because I have some links in Himachal, and since you were giving all the credit to the Kashmiris, and we produce more morels than they do.
Yes,
right?
It is. It is. I don't deny on that.
Sorry, absolutely.
But it's all nature of those Himalayan valleys, I would say. My second course would be Bhapa Ilish with Kasundi and Poshto. Yeah, so that's my in-laws' place. So Hilsa is the most liked fish in West Bengal, and it's a feast for any Bengali. It's a ritual for them. They can eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And like Mr. Chowdhury mentioned, this is the right time to get the best Ilish. So my second course is very native and signature to our country. You won't find anywhere in this world. It is wrapped with banana leaf, with poshto and steamed, and served with kasundi. And kasundi is the best, the mustard you have in this country. It's just outstanding. You can have it with cutlet. You can have it with anything. Just the wraps in salad. Well, I won't take much of time. My third course is pandi roast with local avocado. It's a salad with Coorg vinaigrette. A Coorg vinegar, which is Kanchampulli, is something which is fermented of kokum, and then it's made. It's a signature recipe, and you just cannot make it anywhere. So in this pandi roast, where the pork belly I'm going to use, which is cooked for 15 hours, slow cooking, and then you hand pull it. It goes warm in the salad, and then you toss the lead with local avocado. In that belt, the local avocado is grown, and you make a nice vinaigrette with that Coorg vinegar. and serve the salad along with this pandi roast. I think that's going to be the most signature preparation in this entire menu. Then I would move to my fourth course. I've done total 7 courses. So fourth course is Gondoraj Himalayan trout with Himalayan salt. The kind of flavor you get from Gondoraj lemon is so different. I'm sure Mr. Sharad Diwan must be knowing the best. He uses the most, I'm sure, in his menus. I've seen his menus. Yeah, so it's a beautiful Himalayan trout, is a beautiful fish, very tender, low in sodium and of course mercury, high in protein. It's very distinctive flavor. So here we are not doing any spices or anything with that fish. We'll just grill the fish, grate some Gondoraj lemon on top, squeeze some lemon with some veggies and Himalayan salt on top. We just don't want to empower this fish with any other flavor. My next preparation is Mathania chilies with Jaisalmeri lamb and pearl millet. Mathania is again a village everybody knows in Jodhpur and district of Jodhpur. It's known for its best chilies. It's really hot. And here I'm going to cook lal mas with some yogurt and chilies. I'm going to serve with the crisp of pearl millet. Jaisalmeri lamb I'm going to use. It's very known. Lamb really has to walk a lot. It's the most beautiful lamb you have in this country. Then I'm going to give a sorbet. The sorbet I'm going to use jamun with some black salt. It's a beautiful palate cleanser, and we all have memories of eating jamun outside our school in our young days. I still remember, and that's a palate cleanser as a sorbet. We'll just blend it and make a nice sorbet and sprinkle some black salt on top. And here's my last course, which is ghevar. So we as Indians, we're really proud of this preparation. It's so unique. It's so you cannot just make it anywhere, and it's so beautiful that I cannot have anybody who can say that I don't like ghevar. And the ghevar tart, it's like a petit four, small. You can just pick it up and eat, and it's filled with rabdi, and the sweet rabdi we have sweetened with the Nolan gourd. That will give again a very, very, very distinct flavor. So yeah, it's go pretty much room temperature. You can have chilled rabdi in that. That's the 7 course beautiful dessert. So well, I've tried to cover all the courses and all the parts of this country, north to south to east to west. Very indigenous, go local. Thank you very much.
Well done, brilliant. I must say I was particularly impressed with your science, and I must give you an anecdote about Melad. So a lot of people ask me the difference between a biryani and a pulao, and yes. My answer is rooted in science. See, the official language of the Mughal court was Persian.
Correct.
And biryan means frying, right? Or browning, right? So the difference between a yakhni, which is a soup, as the lay people call it, or stock as you call it, and the frying. So if you ask, and I'm not getting racial here, but if you ask a well-to-do Shia family in Lucknow, then they will say, "Bhai, wo kuch nahi, biryani kuch nahi hoti, wo fried rice hi hai." मतलब के मेलाड से वो फ्राई करते हैं. Anyway, that was wonderful. I love the way you've characterized it. I think Kunal has become so excited that because he has visions of being the next Wajid Ali Shah. Yeah. And later.
Kunal, you're on mute. You're on mute, Kunal.
So Kunal has this great ambition of being a Wajid Ali Shah. So now, Wajid Ali Shah's biggest weakness was that he used to expose some parts of his body, which otherwise...
One nipple.
Thank you, Himanshu. That was beautifully done. Very well orchestrated.
Thank you very much.
Lots of creativity. I loved it. Okay, now we come to Manisha, who is obviously sitting in the Peacock Bar. Manisha, are you at the Peacock Bar? Can you hear me? Manisha, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm at the Peacock Bar. I'm at the ITC Grand Bharat for some work.
Yeah. You're breaking all the rules.
Why not use the setting to my advantage?
So while we are trying to sip tea, and Wajid Ali Shah is of course having copious amounts of water, for which we'll have to go to the loo very shortly. Manisha Bhasin is sitting in the Peacock Bar and obviously having a drink. But anyway, I must tell you, one of the women that I admire the most in my entire life has been Manisha. I've known her for about 20-25 years. Okay, uh, I mean, she can be difficult to the point of irritation. She never takes no for an answer. Uh, in many years of my career, she drove me nuts. But for some reason, we continue to be great friends, and I admire her because she has broken the glass ceiling, and she did it without any godfather, right? So she is one of the great lady chefs in the world, and I am not being in any way parochial, but she's broken the glass ceiling, and trust me, no godfather in ITC. You know, not your story, not anybody else. I have a surname which is Anand. No, Anand also influenced this decision. She got this job on her own merit. So, Manisha, I love your setting. It reminds me of my days at the ITC Grand Bharat. So, over to you.
So you open this hotel and it has your print everywhere.
Well,
And I've taken advantage of some of the artifacts that are there to do the setting for today's presentation.
thank you. I can.
So I'll request Chef Rajeev to screen share my presentation because there was a network problem with my phone. So Chef Rajeev will, of course, share the presentation, and I will take you through my presentation as well. So, can we go on the first slide, please? Okay, first slide is okay. We are presenting the hidden culinary gems rediscovered by not only by me, by a lot of chefs who have been before me in ITC hotels. We have a legacy of close to 40 plus years of food rediscovering. So, taking a cue from Mr. Anand's presentation, time is not linear. Explain our ancient ages. It is a circle. What goes around comes around. So today, for tonight's meal, I'm going to present 400 years of grand cuisine of Delhi. The setting is Arab Ki Sarai. I was fortunate enough to do a sit-down dinner there, along with Incredible India, and ASI permission, of course, was given to us. So the today's cuisine is based on early medieval, late medieval Delhi, and setting is in Humayun's tomb. The preamble is the cuisine will be strongly influenced by Central Asian cuisine, the region where Turco-Mughal rulers originally came from, and it consists of dishes developed in medieval India and today what we see the interpretation on our plates today. As the story goes, Humayun's first wife was a Persian daughter of Humayun's maternal uncle, also called Haji Begum, because she had gone for Hajj to Mecca. So on her return, along with her, she brought the Yemeni craftsmen, as well as she brought 300 Arabs from Mecca to pray for Emperor Sol. With them came the food as well. And after the death of her husband, when she decided to build the mausoleum, she was encouraged by her stepson Akbar, who was extremely fond of her. So during this time, from between early and late medieval era, food in India evolved into subtleties such as biryanis, kormas, and kaliyas, which were the founding stone of cuisine of northern India as we see today. So these hidden gems, inspired of bygone era, are reimagined in tonight's degustation experience. So the atmospherics, the setting is, of course, set in an open air Arab Ki Sarai. There is a table mood board that will be followed. There will be theatrics by way of voice, of instrumental ghungroo music playing. There will be a degustation menu, and the last slide will be on sustainability. Be vocal about local. So I briefly touch upon the atmospherics. I'm simulating the Arab Ki Sarai atmospheric. We will use air misters if it is in the summer season that I'm going to do a dinner with ice coolers and misters around and bonfires in case it's winter outside. The table will be charbagh inspired by Mughal architecture. We will light loban at various places to perfume the air, and also it will keep the pests outside. And of course the menu design. The next slide, what you see is of atmospherics, the setting. Like I said, you can see the little hints of setting of, I picked up these pictures, of course, since it's going to be virtual. There's a loban which is burning. Most of the Mughal architecture has charbagh design, so our table seating will be revolving around that. And here is the big darwaza of Arab ki Sarai. That would be interpretation. You enter from there and get into the seating. Then we come to the table setup. Of course, I have the pictures as well as we will be able to showcase the same thing on what is on my table today at ITC Grand Bharat. There'll be scented candles on the table, creating the mood. Fresh jasmine or roses, depending on the season, floating in water as a centerpiece. There'll be sandalwood scented hand pipes, which will be used as finger bowl. We are not going to offer in current COVID situation. As Mr. Anand also said, zero contact or minimal contact protocol, which will be dispensed in this beautiful, elegant Mughal-inspired container, which is closed, and plated meal presented with a grand cloche served almost 1 arm length away, because we don't want any service person to come near the guest. Minimal seating on the table. Normally we have a table of 6 per table for a 5 feet dia table. We will do seating only for 4 people. We come to the atmospherics. The tablecloths will be, of course, inspired by the Mughal print, as well as the napkins. You have seen the little dispenser for the sandal wipes. There will be, of course, candle stands, mogra or jasmine flower on the table, and the table setting, which is reminiscent of that era. You can hear the light Kathak music playing in the background here. So now a little about the food and the drinks. Since Humayun loved Sharbat, beverages became flavored with the essence of fruits, and thus came the exotic drinks that we see today. By the 9th century, the city of Shiraz had already established a reputation to produce the finest wine in the world. Chef Rajeev, can I have the next slide, please? And was Iranian wine capital. The export of Shiraz wine by European merchants in the 17th century has been documented. For dinner tonight, we serve a sustainable green champagne, world's first green sustainable champagne, pairs beautifully with the 7-course meal that we present today. Little more about the food. Humayun, who was the first emperor, spent much life in exile. With him brought Persian influences to the Mughal table. It was his wife Hamida who introduced the lavish use of saffron and dry fruits in the royal kitchens during the first hall of 16th century. Rainbow-colored yogurt and dishes decorated with pretty patterns of rice powder glaze and candied fruit peels. Each grain of rice for biryani was coated with silver-flecked oil. This was believed to aid digestion and also act as an aphrodisiac. So, I will just narrate a little couplet from Omar Khayyam. I've translated it in English. I desire a little ruby wine of verses, just enough to keep me alive, and half a loaf is needful. And then that I and thou shall sit in a desolate place is better than the kingdom of Sultan. Now I come to the final one, the menu. India eats as its season dictates, as the brief was. So I have incorporated what is seasonal, what is local, what was also available at that point of time, and our strengths in Indian cuisine. So my starter would be Mahe Dolma. Of course, the green champagne Veuve Clicquot would be served with all the 7 courses. A bit about Mahe Dolma. Mahe Dolma used to be a main course banquet dish. However, I am doing this in a small place. There are 4 small. I want the food to be too heavy and lead to indigestion. So a little bit about Mahe Dolma. We are creating Yamuna River soul simmered in cooling summer spices, since the theme is summer, with fennel and coriander and poppy seeds, which will be flaked, set in a mold resembling a fish. And this is also contribution of Kayas community, who were account bookkeepers in the Mughal courts of bygone era. My second small plate is Paneer Khas Maurya. These are small cottage cheese dumplings simmered in exotic fenugreek gravy, scented with saffron flavored cheese. Chena was used in India, but it was paneer which was brought, the fermented paneer was brought by Mughal, and this is also mentioned in Nuskha Shahjahani as well. My third small plate is Juje Limbu, which is spring chicken supreme stuffed with onion, cheese and royal cumin, nabbed in aromatic lime inspired by stuffed chicken recipe mentioned in Aine Akbari.
Excellent.
Fourth course is Adrak ke Panje. It is a single bone lamb chop simmered in aromatic ginger pepper gravy. I have added my interpretation, add with a hint of gin. Gin not only makes it a little more interesting twist to the flavor, but also keeps the meat pink. The recipes were those times were given by Hakims to the Rakabdar. That means the royal Hakim would give the recipe to the Rakabdar, the royal chef of the palace, because adrak is beneficial to health and is also used as a tenderizer. It was not uncommon for the Shahi Khan Sama to consult the Shahi Hakim while planning the royal menu, making sure to include medicinally beneficial ingredients. This is again served with work thicker. My next main course, which is Yemeni Halim, which I also am going to indulge in today. As you can see, the presentation is modernistic. We have done a naan crisp, which is made of multi-grain flour, and of course Halim, which is pounded lamb and meat. So yeah, it was actually brought by Yemeni craftsmen who were brought by Begum Haji, widow of Humayun, to build the tomb, and they were housed in Arab Sarai. One day she saw them eating and she asked her royal cook to recreate that, and thus this was recreated by them. And this was inspired by the Yemeni land. It's a wholesome meal of mutton, wheat, lentil and spices, cooked together over slow heat for hours and served with traditional embellishment. We have done little twist of the embellishments, as you can see in the plate here. The final plate, large plate, is chulao with dal shola, which is a spiced version of tur dal smoked with clove and served with basmati and a dash of desi ghee. Dal kushka, what we is called as well, got the Persians hooked onto this extraordinary fragrant dish. As the story goes, when Humayun was in exile, he settled in Persia, and when he was coming back to India to reclaim his land, the Persian king hosted a banquet for him, which had 1,200 dishes. So Humayun wanted to reciprocate, and he asked his royal entourage cooks to recreate food of India for them. So when he created, one of the dishes was dal kushka, and the Shah of Persia was so impressed with that dish that he was willing to give away his army and even his son for the recipe of dal kushka. It's an exotic combination inspired by Humayun's travel, again served with the champagne. We come to the last dessert, which is baraf ki handi. Baraf ki handi is a very interesting concept. In earlier days, I'm talking about 150 to 200 years ago, when the daughter-in-law, newly married daughter-in-law, would go back to her parents' house, the in-laws would send a huge tokra of various assorted kulfis, just to show her parents how much they love their daughter-in-law and how much they miss her. So hence we are presenting this interpretation of Narangi ki kulfi. The santra is from Nagpur, which will be scooped out, centered with reduced milk and embellished with the pista faluda. It is crowned with pista faluda and musarra, which is the golden syrup. Eventually we'll serve mukwas, which is the mouth freshener. So in the court of Mughal kings and other rulers, silver-coated cardamom was offered as a part of hospitality, friendship and love, and also as a digestive post and indulgent meal. So that completes the 7 courses. Now a bit about sustainability, local, be vocal about local. So in my menu, the 7-course menu, we have used local rice grown in Dehradun belt, which is used. It is actually called the Doon rice. The fresh which is got from Yamuna river is used in Mahi Dolma. Jaipur mutton, we all know how famous it is. And wheat is from Pingalwara. Pingalwara wheat is a very heritage wheat it's an ancient wheat which has very low gluten content, which is used to make for halim. Ginger is from Sirmaur. Sirmaur is a place in Himachal Pradesh supposed to grow the best ginger in India. The sharbat which we are offering is made with pushkar gulab and exotic gold wafers and served as a starter. If you see the layout, the local artisan metalwork inspired by bygone era is made in Muradabad. Fabric prints are inspired by Mughal architecture, thus creating an atmosphere. The local seasonal flowers are being used. The loban is used for scenting the atmosphere. Table seating is inspired by charbagh, and the world's green champagne that I have used of Tricon, which is 12% dry and world's first sustainable champagne. Thank you.
Excellent, wonderful. And let's give her a big hand. So Rakesh, on your behalf, I'm going to say that हसीन जलवरेज हों, अदाए फितना खेज हों,